Hi everybody, this is Mike. In this video we're going to talk about cardinal numbers. Hola a todos, soy Mike. En este video vamos a hablar acerca de los números cardinales. Cardinal numbers are a type of numbers that we use in order to count quantity, represent quantity, or a numerical value. These are fundamental numbers that we use in everyday counting when we are counting, and also to answer questions such as how many or how much. Cardinal numbers are also used for basic mathematical operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And just in order to have an idea of the uses of the cardinal numbers, we have counting, because we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we want to count objects, things, people, in order to mention quantity, let's say I can say I have 3 apples. The numerical value of something like in a week we have 7 days. We also use the cardinal numbers when we are speaking about plurals, like there's 5 cars, 5 cardinal number. We use that also for dates, like 1995, September 20 instead of 20th. 20th is an ordinal number. We also use the cardinal numbers to tell the time, like what time is it? It's 5:30. Those are cardinal numbers. For measurements, like 3 meters, 6'7", 80 kilograms, 120 pounds. For ages, whenever I'm talking about ages, we use that number too. Like I'm 53, so I use cardinal numbers. So I can either write the cardinal number with numbers and with numerals, the numeral for each one, or in words. I have the number 1 and I can say 1, number 2 and I can say 2. Basically, these ideas are the same in English and in Spanish. So we can do both of them. So what we're going to do is that we're going to go through all of the cardinal numbers in Spanish, and we're going to learn how to form those numbers. This is going to help us later to use these numbers in order to count, tell age, dates, numeric values, mathematical operations, and stuff like that, the things that I just mentioned. So let's go check how to form the cardinal numbers. So let's start with the numbers from 0 to 9. So this is basically memorizing the numbers. You can memorize either by repetition or trying to do some exercises like counting and trying not to say the number in English but in Spanish. There are several ways to do that. So in the meantime, we have for 0, we have cero. Cero. Remember that mine is Latin American Spanish. I'm from Colombia, so I do not sound this like cero, like in Spain. But for us, it's cero. 0 would be cero. In English, I can say 0 or O. In Spanish, we only have cero. We don't have O for this number. For 1, we have uno. Uno. For 2, I'm sorry if in the background we have some barking noises, but tonight I have some nasty dogs around the neighborhood, like pretty much happy, or I don't know what they're doing. So I'm sorry. I do apologize for that if that's maybe interrupting our conversation. But anyways, for uno, I said we have uno. For 2, we have dos. Dos. For 3, we have tres. Tres. 4, we have cuatro. Cuatro. 5 would be cinco. Cinco. Remember, Cinco de Mayo. Cinco. 6, we have seis. Seis. 7, we have siete, siete. 8, we have ocho, ocho. 9, we have nueve, nueve. And then we start moving in tens. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. We're going to skip 11, 12, 13, 14 in the moment. We are just going to focus on the tens. So for 10, we have diez, diez. For 20, we have veinte. We can say veinte, or in Colombia, we basically sound this like the B, so we can say veinte. In Spanish, in Colombia, we don't make differences between the B and the V. You can say veinte, it is okay. Because most likely, if you watch the V, you're going to try to make the V sound, of course. So this would be veinte or veinte. It's the same. For 30, we have treinta, treinta. 40, cuarenta, cuarenta. 50, cincuenta, cincuenta. 60, sesenta, sesenta. 70, setenta, setenta. 80, ochenta, ochenta. 90, noventa. And then we're going to skip to 100, 200, 300. Later, we're going to watch the formation of the numbers, the intermediate numbers, the numbers between 20 and 30, the 80 and 90. But first, we're going to get this group of numbers. This is basically the foundation. It's like the same in English. You're going to see that's pretty much the same in English. Now, 100 would be 100. 100 would be cien. If I say in English 100, I could say un cien in Spanish, but in Spanish we don't say un cien. We just have for 100 we have cien. Funny fact: for 200, 200, we do have dos cientos, dos cientos. For 300 we have tres cientos. It would be pretty much like 300, tres cientos. For 400 we have cuatrocientos. For 500 there's a slight difference because we don't say cincocientos. That would be the idea. But in Spanish we say quinientos, quinientos for 500. For 600, seiscientos. We go back again to 600, seiscientos. 700 is not sietecientos, but setecientos. Latin roots, of course. For 800, we have ochocientos. Again, ochocientos, 800. For 900, we don't have nuevecientos, but we have novecientos. Once again, Latin roots. And we have covered the hundreds. We have covered the tens, the units, and the hundreds. Now let's move to the thousands. And we have mil. We could say un mil. Some people say un mil. But in Spanish, for mil alone, we just say mil. There's an exception to this rule, and we're gonna read that later. But in the meantime, if we have mil, if we have 1,000 alone, 1,000 or 1,000, we just say mil. And from this point on, it's pretty much easy because we have 2,000 for dos mil, 3,000 for tres mil, 4,000 for cuatro mil, 5,000 for cinco mil, 6,000 for seis mil, 7,000 for siete mil, 8,000 for ocho mil, and 9,000 for nueve mil. Here we do have the number, the unit, and the word mil for the thousands. 2,000, 2,000, 3,000, 3,000, and so on. So we're finding some similarities in these numbers with English. Now let's go to the 10,000s. So we have 10,000, 10, 10,000 mil, 10,000, 10,000. 20,000 would be 20,000, 30,000 would be 30,000. That's pretty much in English. Very easy. 40,000, 40,000. 50,000, 50,000. 60,000, 60,000. 70,000, 70,000. 80,000, 80,000. 90,000, 90,000. So here in the 10,000s, we do have the tens plus the word mil. 10, 20, 30, 40, the ones that we just learned here. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and the word mil for the thousand. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, and so on. Let's move to the 100,000s. The 100,000s, we do have exactly the same as we did with the 10,000s. So we have the 100,000, we have the 100,000. So we're going to use the 100, 200, 300, 400, the hundreds, the part of the hundreds that we just learned, exactly the same, and we are just going to add the word mil for the thousand. So 100,000, 100,000. 200,000, 200,000. 300,000, 300,000. 400,000, 400,000. 500,000, 500,000. 600,000, 600,000. 700,000, 700,000. 800,000, 800,000. 900,000, 900,000. And then we move to the millions. The millions. Here we have the units pretty much the same, but not exactly for uno. So we don't say uno millón. We just say un million. Like if we said a million, not 1 million. Uno millón, we don't say that in Spanish. We just say un millón. But for the other millions, we do have the number, the unit that we used before here, the units, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus the million word. So we have 2 million, 2 millones, 3 million, 3 millones, 4 million, 4 millones, 5 million, 5 millones. It's pretty much the same in English. The only difference is a million would be a million, or not 1 million, not uno millón, but a million, un millón. 6 million, 6 millones, 7 million, 7 millones, 8 million, 8 millones, 9 million, 9 millones. And then we move to the tens, and it's exactly the same. We use the tens, the words that we used before for the tens here, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, exactly the same, plus the word millones for million. So if we have 10 million, we say 10 millones. 20 million, 20 millones. 30 million, 30 millones. 40 million, 40 millones. 50 million, 50 millones. 60 million, 60 millones. 70 million, 70 millones. 80 million, 80 millones. 90 million, 90 millones. So, let's move to the 100 millions. And once again, what we do is we just use the 100 part, 100, 200, 300, exactly the way we learn here, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, and we just add the word millones for the million. So for 100 million, we have 100 millones. For 200 million, 200 millones. For 300 million, 300 millones. For 400 million, 400 millones. For 500 million, 500 millones. For 600 million, 600 millones. For 700 million, 700 millones. For 800 million, 800 millones. And for 900 million, 900 millones. And then we are going to finally skip to the 1,000 million, which in English we read this as a billion. In Spanish, this is not a billion for us. We say mil millones because it's 1,000 million. Mil millones. So we would say 3,000 million, 4,000 million, 5,000 million, and so on. 5,000 million, 6,000 million for, let's write that here real quick. I'm mixing up numbers. 7, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 7,000 million, which would be 7 billion in English. But the billion in English is not the billion in Spanish. For us, it's 1,000 millones, 2,000 millones, 3,000 millones, 4,000 millones, meaning we're going to use 3,000 millones, 4,000 millones, 5,000 millones, 6,000 millones, 7,000 millones, 8,000 millones, 9,000 millones, 10,000 millones, 20,000 millones, 30,000 millones, 40,000 millones, 100,000 millones, 200,000, and so on, right? So we have the million, the 1,000 million, right? Which in English is a billion. Now the next amount would be in English, the trillion. Trillion for us is a billion, which would be un billón, and then dos billones, tres billones, and so on. These are huge numbers. So let's keep it kind of simple, and let's go up to maybe the billion in English, which is 1,000 millones en español. So with this, we have formed the basic numbers from 0 up to a trillion, basically. Now we're going to make the numbers in between. So remember that before we skipped from 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50. Now we're going to read the numbers from 10 to 20. From 10 to 20, we do have 11, 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 18, and 19, 19, 19. From this point on, the numbers between 20 and 30, 30 and 40 are easier, because for the 20 numbers, we use the part 20, like 20y, which we say 20, and the number of the unit, 21 for 21, 22 for 22, 23 for 23, 24 for 24, 25 for 25. I was going to say 25. Okay, 26 for 26, 27 for 27, 28 for 28, and 29 for 29. So as you can see, these ones are easier because it's just like forming with the full word, one single word, with 20 and the unit. From this point on, for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90, we do the 10, the and the unit. Meaning, the 10 here, let's go back here, the 10s are for, and this is up from 30 to 90. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. And for these numbers, we would have 31. 31. So the word 30, which would be the 10 and the unit. For 34 would be of course 30 y 4, 4, the 10 and the unit. And so on. 38, 30 y 8, 39, 30 y 9. And the same thing for the rest of the numbers. 41, 41, 43, 43, 46, 46, 51, 51, 57, 50 y 7, y 7, I'm sorry. 57, 50 y 7. 59, 50 y 9. 61, 61. 62, 62. 71, 71, 71. 74, 74. 76, 76. 81, 81. 86, 86. You see how we form with the 10, the word y, and the unit. 91, 91, 91. 99, 99. So then we move to the hundreds. And with the hundreds, we just use the word hundred and the number that belongs to these two digits. So if we have 101, with the 100 we use ciento, and the one would be the unit, uno. 112 would be ciento, and the two digits, 12. Let's say 109, 109, 109. 138, 138. You see how the 100, the word we use is ciento, and the two digits are the single number 38 that we just learned how to do here. And we can form all of the numbers from 100 to 199, because 199 would be ciento, 100, 99, 99. According to this, 91, 92, 93, and so on. But easier for the numbers from the 200, 300, 400, we use the according number for the 100. So for 200, we say 200. For 300, 300, the same way that we used here. 200, 300, 400, 500, the same numbers, 600, but from the 200. You see how here we say ciento in those numbers, because 130, 130, 130, but from 200 we do use these numbers, 200, 300, 400, 500. And then we're going to form the numbers 201, 201, 201. 323, 300, 323, 23. 400, 479, 79, 479. 500, 500, 26, 26. 600, 34, 634. 700, 700, 17, 17. 800, 800, 88, 88. 900, 900, 41, 41. And you can, of course, form different numbers. Let's say 765, 765, right? And so on. Then we move to the units of thousand. We say 1007 or 1007. In English, the 1000 is not, in Spanish, I'm sorry, 1000, we don't say un mil. In this case, what we say mil. 1000, mil, 7. So we're saying the thousand and the hundreds. The thousand, the hundreds, and the tens. So in this case, 1013, 1013, the same, see, you see, 1000, 1000, 1000, 13, 13. 1100, 1000, 1100, 100. In English, we say 1100, but there is no equivalent in Spanish to that form. So in Spanish, we don't say 1100. We don't say 1100. We do not say that. We just say the 1000, 1000, 1000, 100, 100. And 1101, 1000, 100, 101. You see how we use this? The same way we form the numbers here, 101. So we mix this. 1138, 1138, 138. 1208, 1000, 208, 208. So we are reading. If we don't have hundreds, we just say the thousand and the number with the unit. If we have tens, just tens, 1000 and the 10. And if we have hundreds, we say the 1000 and the 100. In this case, 1472 sería 1472. We learn how to say 472. In this case, 479. We just learned that. So we mix the numbers. When we move further to the 2000, we say 2000. And the same thing with the units, 2000, 2002. With the tens, 2000, 12, 2000, 2000, and the 10, 12. And the hundreds, the thousand and the hundreds, 2000, 2000, 100, 100, 2100, and all of the possible combinations that we have learned for the tens and for the hundreds. It's basically combinations. When we move to the 10,000s, so we have the same. 10,000 would be 10,000, and the 100, 200, 10,200. So we basically are reading the 1,000 and the 100. 11,000, 11,000, 11,301, 301. 12,432, 12,000, 12,000, 12,400, 432, 32. If we had 1,003, 10,003 would be 10,003. We have the 10,000 and the unit. If we have the 10,000 and the 10, we read this as 10,000, the 10,000, and the 10, 21. In this case, we have the 10,000 and the 100, so it would be 11,301, 11,000, 11,301, 301, and this, once again, 12,000, 12,432, 432, and all of the possible combinations. We move to the 20. Again, 20,000 would be 20,000. Same thing as we said before, 20,000 in this part. Here. 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, right? But with the combinations, we use the 10,000 part, 20,000, and the combination accordingly to the thing that we learned here. So this would be 20,010 would be 20,010. When we have the 21,000, we say 21,000. 21,000. We don't say 20,000. No, 21,000. 21,000. Same thing with 31,000, 31,000. With 41,000, 41,000. With 51,000, 51,000. 61,000, 61,000. 71,000, 71,000. 81,000, 81,000. 91,000, 91,000. Of course, with all of the possible combinations in between. 31,232, 31,232, 232,232. 31,005, 31,005. 31,010, 31,010. All of the possible combinations. When we move to the 32 form, would be 32 and 1, 32,001, 32,001. If we have hundreds, would be 45,200. 45,000, the 10,000 first. 45,000, exactly as in English. 45,000, 45,000, 200, 200. 51,000, 51,000, 320, 320. It's just the same in English. And all of the possible combinations in between. When we move to the 100,000s, here we need to be careful because we have 101,000 and that's 101,000. We cannot say 100,000. This doesn't make sense. And we can't either say 100,000 because 100,000 is just this number is 100,000, 100,000. So with this combination we have 101,000. Same here, 201,000. 200, this is 200, 201,000. 201,000, 201,000, 301,000, 401,000, 501,000. Just to make the differences between 500,000, 500,000, 500,000, 500,000, and 1. That's the difference. And using the units, the tens or the hundreds. So 201,345 would be 201,201,345, 345. So in this case, we would have the thousands, the 100,000, 321,000, which would be 321,000, and then the hundreds, 910, 910, 910. It's basically the same. We split in English 321,000, 321,000, 920, 321,000, 321,000, 910, 910. And then we move to the million and we say un millón, and we follow unit if it's just unit. 1,000,001, 1,000,002, 1,000,003, 1,000,004. We follow tens, 1,012,000, 1,020,000, 1,030,000. We follow hundreds, 1,129,000, 1,129. We follow thousands, 1,003,201, 1,003,201. 10,000s. So this case would be 1,021,111. 1,000,000, 21,111, and the 20,000. That we have learned how to do that. And with the numbers, we do have, with the millions, we have all of the combinations. 1,376,231. 1,000,000, 376,366,000, 231, 231. And that is the way that we form numbers in Spanish. At first can seem complicated, especially with the 20, with the 15, with the 70, 90, these kind of numbers. But we get used, we can go and do the numbers without much trouble. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is check again all of the stuff that I just said about the numbers. Repeat and review. Do your own exercises, writing down numbers with the numerals and then trying to say the right number in Spanish. So these are the numbers, the cardinal numbers in Spanish, and now you should be in position of counting up to a billion in English, of course. Okay, I know this is kind of tricky. It's pretty much like in English. So we need basically just practice. So the idea is for you to review how to form at least the basic numbers. Let's say up to 1,000 maybe. It's not that hard. It's just a matter of repetition. So my suggestion for you is to check the video as many times as you need. Focus on the parts, on the basic parts. The basic understanding is going to give you the tools in order to form higher and higher and more complex numbers. Try to do some exercises, write numbers, telling them numbers out loud, comparing, and also I have a very good tool for you. The tool is a website. You can access the website. It is www.tulenguas.es/números-texto. I'm going to give you I'm going to show you here on screen the URL, and also I'm going to leave the link in the description. This is pretty cool because you can write, there's a prompt in which you can write the number using numerals, and you can choose the language you want to have the number. You can have the number in Spanish, let me check real quick here. You can have it in Spanish, Roman numerals, Portuguese, English, Italian, German, and Chinese. It's pretty cool. And when you hit search, having entered the number in numerals, it's going to give you cardinal, ordinal, fractions, a lot of different stances in which you have the number in that language. So go ahead and check that for further assistance. If you have questions, please leave me a comment, and I'll be checking and replying as soon as possible. If you like the video, you know what to do. Please share with your friends, groups, and social media. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell button. That's gonna keep you posted. Every updates, the new videos that I'm gonna be posting pretty much every week. Eventually, I'm gonna be able to enabled to have live classes, and that's a pretty good way to show your support to our channel. I'm so glad and pleased, surprisingly pleased. Yeah, that would be the way. I'm sorry. Anyways, I'm so pleased and surprised that this channel has been growing up so fast. I'm so glad, and I'm looking forward to keeping on bringing quality contents for you. This is basically my way to show the appreciation for your support. And once again, I'm not a certified teacher, but I do have pretty much like 15 years experience teaching English to Spanish speakers, and now I'm trying to do the same for you English speakers. So hopefully these resources are going to be helpful in your learning process, and looking forward to seeing you in the next video. So study hard, keep on studying, and see you on the next video. Estudien mucho, sigan aprendiendo, sigan enfocados, y nos vemos en un próximo video. Bye bye.